When you're ready.
Stem cells, with the ability to differentiate into organs, tissues, and blood vessels, have the potential to prompt tremendous medical advancements. The regulation of stem cell therapies would reduce healthcare expenses, establish new job opportunities, and provide treatments for incurable diseases. Because these therapies continue to lack FDA supervision and raise ethical concerns, they are not effective at this time, but offer the potential for medical treatments in the future. Current healthcare practices and treatments focus on controlling chronic illnesses rather than curing them. Investing in the development of stem cell research provides the opportunity to discover effective therapies that can cure these expensive chronic conditions. This research has the potential to treat diseases that are currently being burdened with extensive healthcare costs. In a study conducted in the state of Michigan, if stem cell therapy became a standard mode of treatment, Michigan could save $80 million in annual treatment expenses. While the modern technology associated with stem cell research is expensive, it will become more efficient and affordable with the regulation of these therapies. Not only will the regulation of stem cell research reduce the overall cost of healthcare, it will attract companies and businesses with high-paying jobs to areas where stem cell treatments are being provided. California, with an investment of $3 billion in the California Institute for Regenerative Medicine, or CIRM, created greater than 56,000 jobs for the state alone. The biotechnology industry, which specializes in genetic engineering, will generate both commercial revenue and job opportunities with its cell treatments and research projects. Despite reducing the crippling cost of healthcare and creating new job opportunities, stem cell therapies conflict with ethical values. Stem cells used for research and cutting-edge treatments are taken from immature embryos, which are then discarded, thus destroying human life. Because of this, the economic perspective prompts the question, are the financial and healthcare advancements of stem cell therapies worth the destruction of human life?
A major concern that comes to fruition when looking through the ethical lens is the advertising means by which companies are pushing for consumer knowledge of their stem cell technology. In an interview conducted by MinnPost's Susan Perry, Lee Turner, a bioethicist at the University of Minnesota, expressed his concern, saying, "We are particularly concerned that we have found many advertising claims related to amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and many other conditions for which there is no established scientific consensus that proven safe and efficacious stem cell treatments now exist." When doing research on this topic, I found that there are some therapy options that are advertised as capable of treating close to 35 different diseases without being adjusted for the different types of conditions. There was one business that was singled out by Turner in his article with Paul Knopfler, which claims that it uses pluripotent stem cells but will not acknowledge the source of the cells. Knopfler and Turner go on to say that approximately 3% of marketed stem cells, businesses marketed stem cell interventions without mentioning a particular type of stem cell, essentially saying that they are hiding information that is important in the decision-making process for consumers. Even with the lack of knowledge and available information for the advertising methods for stem cell clinics, the number of treatment facilities continue to grow, despite the lack of regulation from the Food and Drug Administration.
In addition to the economic and ethical concerns regarding stem cell therapies, there's also the issue of the lack of FDA regulations, which is a political concern. The main questions regarding this are, why are there not FDA regulations? What does this mean, and where is it going in the future? The main reason there aren't many FDA regulations is that the FDA claims to need more testing and research done before they approve surgeries. There's a lack of funding and resources, which can be easily remedied and make stem cell therapies a priority. The FDA claims to be currently running tests and doing more research, so it seems likely that more regulations will be implemented in the future. The lack of regulations means that there are safety concerns for the people choosing to have these surgeries, and that there is inaccurate information being spread about accuracy and more on these websites. These are big concerns that need to be addressed by the FDA before stem cell therapies are approved on a larger scale. People's safety should be the #1 priority. In the future, with more FDA regulations, the procedures will be safer and have more guaranteed results. People will feel more comfortable with surgeries and more confident making that choice. This means there's potential for more clinics to start in large cities and for more stem cell therapies to be used on a larger scale.
Stem cell therapies are crucial for the future. The most common incurable disease is cancer. It's the second leading cause of death in the United States, causing around 1,670 deaths a day. The treatments for cancer are currently surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation, but they're insufficient and ineffective. They're being used on leukemia, lymphoma, melanoma, and neuroblastoma. Stem cell transplants are a valuable option for the future. They would restore blood from stem cells in people who have had theirs destroyed by cancer treatments. The stem cells would be injected into their veins and travel through the bloodstream into the bone marrow to replace the damaged stem cells. Blood-forming stem cells originate from the bone marrow, the bloodstream, or the umbilical cord. If proven effective, blood count would increase. Some complications of the transplant, however, are unknown. One of the most common complications is graft-versus-host disease, GVHD. This occurs when the donor's white blood cells attack the patient's own body. A clinical trial is being tested for a blood separator machine. The blood separator machine would take all of the donor's white blood cells out. Patients must have blood-related cancers to participate in the trial and ages 10 to 75. The treatment is designed to increase graft versus leukemia, GVL, and to reduce the risk of graft rejection and decrease GVHD. By controlling the stem cell dose, there is a reduction in GVHD and GVL effects can be maintained. The main objective is to determine if the process is successful and to reduce GVHD side effects.
Although stem cell businesses unethically advertise treatment options and cell therapies lack FDA regulations, ultimately their potential to decrease the cost of healthcare and cure chronic illnesses suggests they will be successful in the future.
Ellery, having finished the project, what, if anything, would you consider to be a gap in your team's research that, if you addressed, would make you feel more confident about your conclusion?
We think that by excluding the scientific lens, we are leaving a gap in our research. By exploring this lens, we feel that we can gather more evidence about the current effectiveness or ineffectiveness of stem cell therapies through published research. A study debriefing either a successful or failed procedure would provide us with more information to form the most educated and supported argument possible.
Okay, thank you. Izzy, give one specific way that your thinking changed as a result of learning about Anna's findings.
When looking at Anna's findings, I realized that safety concerns are a major part of the political lens, which is why it is so important for the FDA to begin with regulations for new treatment options. This changed my thinking because it forced me to look into the importance of stating risks before a procedure to benefit the consumers.
Okay, thank you. Anna, reflecting on your colleagues' work, which one had the greatest impact on your overall understanding of the problem that your group identified?
The ethical lens that Izzy wrote about had the most significant impact on my understanding of the ineffectiveness of stem cell therapies because of the many ethical concerns she wrote about, including the misinformation in advertisement and the high risk of procedures without guaranteed results. This led to our conclusion that stem cell therapies are not currently effective. However, if changes are made to these problems, it could result in safer procedures and higher effectiveness.
Okay, thank you. Jessica, what is one way in which your team's solution makes you think differently about your own individual research?
One argument is from Anna's report stated that there isn't need for strong FDA regulations, and that said people should be able to make a decision for themselves if they want to take the risk. This made me think differently about our conclusion because it would support the idea that they could be effective now and nothing needs to change regarding an increase in regulations.
Okay, another round of applause.